We're going to dive deep into a topic that's often overlooked in modern life, the pursuit of romantic relationships and how to approach them from the perspective of Stoicism. The ancient philosophy of Stoicism offers timeless wisdom that can transform how we think about relationships, self-improvement, and inner strength. We will explore how applying these principles can lead to more fulfilling and meaningful connections. Have you ever wondered why chasing someone for love or validation often leaves us feeling exhausted or unfulfilled? What if there was a way to find contentment without needing to constantly seek the approval of others? Throughout this video, we'll explore 10 Stoic principles that can guide us away from pursuing others in a desperate manner and toward cultivating a more virtuous and resilient way of living. By understanding these principles, you can learn how to navigate relationships with composure, develop patience, and find contentment within yourself. If you stay until the end, you will gain insights that can not only change your approach to relationships, but also help you grow as a person. So, let's begin. 1. Find contentment within. We often think that happiness comes from external factors, such as being loved or admired by others. However, Stoicism teaches us that true contentment is found within. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." This perspective challenges the common belief that fulfillment lies in gaining approval or affection from others. But why is it that we often look outside ourselves for validation? Is it because society teaches us to equate our worth with external accomplishments, including romantic success? When we place our happiness in someone else's hands, we give them the power to determine our emotional state. This creates a dependency that is neither healthy nor sustainable. It's like chasing a mirage in the desert. Each time you think you've reached it, it moves farther away. But what if, instead of chasing after something elusive, we turned inward and cultivated a mindset of gratitude and self-sufficiency? The practice of finding contentment within is central to Stoicism. It encourages us to reflect on what we already have, rather than fixating on what we lack. Ask yourself, how often do you pause to appreciate the things in your life? When was the last time you felt genuinely grateful for the simple act of being alive, of breathing, or of experiencing a new day? The Stoics teach us to focus on the present moment and find peace in what is within our control. This means letting go of the constant need for external approval and instead finding joy in the act of living virtuously. Stoicism also reminds us that our perception of events shapes our emotional state. If we constantly seek validation from others, we will always be at the mercy of their opinions and actions. But if we shift our mindset and realize that our worth is not defined by external circumstances, we can free ourselves from this cycle of dependency. When we find contentment within, we not only become more resilient, but also more attractive to those around us. There is a certain tranquility that radiates from someone who does not need others to be happy. Have you ever noticed how individuals who are secure in themselves tend to draw people towards them effortlessly? So, rather than seeking happiness through the chase, reflect on how you can cultivate contentment within yourself. Practice gratitude, focus on your inner life, and remember that your worth is not determined by others. When you do this, you will naturally attract the kind of relationships that align with your values. Next, let's explore how to reframe rejection as an opportunity for growth and resilience. 2. Reframe rejection. Rejection is an inevitable part of life, especially in the realm of relationships. It can feel like a personal failure, a direct attack on our self-esteem. But Stoicism offers a different perspective on rejection, one that can transform how we react to it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Reject your sense of injury and the injury itself disappears." This statement invites us to question why rejection affects us so deeply. Is it because we see it as a reflection of our value, or because we have become too attached to the approval of others? Rejection is not an assessment of your worth as a person. It is merely an outcome that was not aligned with your expectations. It's important to recognize that everyone has different tastes, preferences, and life circumstances. A rejection does not imply that you lack value. It simply means that the fit was not right. When you approach rejection with this mindset, it becomes an opportunity for growth rather than a cause for despair. Have you ever considered how much energy is wasted on lamenting over rejection? Instead of viewing it as a setback, Stoicism teaches us to embrace it as a chance to learn about ourselves and to improve. What can we learn from the experience? What aspects of ourselves or our approach could be refined for the future? The Stoics encourage us to focus on what is within our control, our thoughts and actions. We cannot control whether someone accepts or rejects us, but we can control how we respond to it. We can choose to see rejection not as an end, but as a new beginning, a doorway to self-discovery and resilience. The next time you face rejection, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, how can this experience contribute to my growth? What strengths can I develop as a result of overcoming this setback? Remember, the Stoic philosophy teaches us that obstacles are merely opportunities in disguise. Every rejection brings us closer to understanding who we are and what we value. It steers us away from paths that are not meant for us and redirects us towards those that align with our true nature. In the face of rejection, practice acceptance and use the experience to cultivate inner strength. Rather than seeing it as a blow to your self-worth, view it as an essential part of the journey toward becoming a better version of yourself. 3. Focus on self-improvement. In the pursuit of relationships, many people mistakenly think that they need to change others or manipulate situations to get what they want. However, Stoicism teaches us that the only true and lasting change comes from within. Marcus Aurelius, a great Stoic philosopher, emphasized this in his writings. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. This statement challenges us to stop focusing on external factors, such as impressing others or seeking validation, and instead direct our energy toward improving ourselves. Have you ever thought about why you seek relationships in the first place? Is it to fill a void, to gain status, or to escape from being alone? While none of these reasons are inherently wrong, they all share a common theme. They are focused on what is outside of you rather than what is within. According to Stoicism, this external focus can lead to frustration because it places our happiness in the hands of others. If we rely on others for our sense of worth, we are bound to be disappointed when they fail to meet our expectations. The Stoic approach, on the other hand, emphasizes self-improvement as the foundation for all meaningful relationships. By focusing on becoming the best version of ourselves, we naturally become more attractive to others. But the goal of self-improvement should not be to impress or win someone's affection. Instead, it should be a lifelong commitment to living virtuously and striving for excellence in all that we do. Ask yourself, are you living according to your values, or are you compromising them for the sake of being liked or accepted? Self-improvement in the context of Stoicism involves honing the 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. When we embody these virtues, we not only improve ourselves, but also create a strong foundation for building meaningful relationships. Wisdom allows us to understand the nature of our desires and whether they align with a virtuous life. Courage helps us face our fears and overcome the obstacles that hold us back from being our best selves. Justice guides us to treat others with fairness and respect, while self-discipline keeps us focused on our goals and prevents us from being swayed by fleeting pleasures. Think about a time when you felt truly fulfilled. Was it because you received external validation, Or was it because you achieved something meaningful through your own efforts? True self-improvement is about setting your own standards for success and living up to them, regardless of what others think. It means cultivating skills, expanding your knowledge, and developing qualities that reflect your highest self. When you do this, you no longer feel the need to chase others because you are already whole within yourself. Moreover, self-improvement is not a destination, but a journey. It requires continuous reflection and adjustment. It involves asking yourself hard questions. What areas of my life need growth? How can I practice the virtues of Stoicism more consistently? Am I living in a way that reflects my values? By engaging in this ongoing process of self-examination, you not only become a better person, but also set an example for others to follow. This journey of self-improvement will naturally lead to more authentic relationships because you are no longer seeking validation or approval from others. Instead, you are focused on living a life of integrity and virtue, which will attract people who share your values. Have you noticed how being around those who are committed to growth inspires you to strive for your own excellence? This is the power of focusing on self-improvement. It not only elevates you, but also influences the people around you positively. Next, we will discuss the importance of maintaining emotional control and how it can shape the quality of our relationships. 4. Maintain emotional control. In relationships, emotions often run high, and it is easy to get caught up in the intensity of feelings such as desire, frustration, or even anger. Stoicism teaches us that while emotions are a natural part of the human experience, we must not let them control us. Instead, we should learn to master our emotions to navigate relationships with composure and integrity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This principle invites us to reflect on how much control we really have over our lives. Why is it that we often let our emotions dictate our actions, especially in relationships? Is it because we see emotions as more authentic than reason, or do we confuse emotional intensity with genuine connection? Stoicism challenges us to question these assumptions. While emotions can inform us about our inner states and reactions, they are not always reliable guides for action. Ask yourself, how often have you said or done something in the heat of the moment that you later regretted? Did allowing your emotions to take control lead to a constructive outcome, or did it cause more harm than good? The Stoic approach to emotional control is not about suppressing emotions or pretending they do not exist. Rather, it is about recognizing them, understanding their sources, and choosing how to respond. This involves practicing mindfulness and self-awareness. When you feel anger, jealousy, or neediness arising, take a step back and ask yourself, what is causing this emotion? Is it within my control, or am I reacting to something external? What would a more rational and measured response look like? Maintaining emotional control is especially crucial in relationships because it helps prevent misunderstandings and conflicts from escalating. When we react impulsively, we often say or do things that damage trust and respect. But when we approach situations with calmness and clarity, we are more likely to resolve issues constructively. Have you ever noticed how your mood influences the mood of those around you? When you stay composed, others are more likely to respond in a similar manner, leading to more harmonious interactions. Furthermore, practicing emotional control allows us to be more empathetic and considerate of others. When we are not consumed by our own emotions, we can better understand the perspectives and feelings of the people we care about. This fosters deeper connections and mutual respect. It is a reminder that relationships are not about winning arguments or proving a point, but about nurturing a bond that is based on understanding and shared values. By mastering your emotions, You gain the ability to navigate even the most challenging aspects of relationships with grace. You become someone who can be relied upon to stay steady in the face of adversity, which in turn strengthens the trust others have in you. Remember, Stoicism is not about being devoid of feeling. It is about being in control of your response to feelings. Practice this principle, and you will find that your relationships become more resilient and meaningful. Next, let us delve into respecting the autonomy of others and why this principle is essential for cultivating healthy relationships. 5. Respect autonomy. Respecting the autonomy of others is a fundamental principle in Stoicism, and it holds particular importance in relationships. It is all too easy to become attached to our expectations or to try to change someone to fit our ideals. But true respect means acknowledging that each person has their own path in life. Marcus Aurelius observed, "Everything is right for me, which is right for you, O universe. Nothing for me is too early or too late, which comes in due time for you." This insight reminds us that every individual has their own journey, and we must honor that. How often do we try to impose our desires on others, whether consciously or unconsciously? Do we view relationships as a means to fulfill our own needs, or do we see them as opportunities for mutual growth? Stoicism teaches us that genuine relationships are founded on mutual respect, not on the relentless pursuit of someone's affection. When we try to chase or manipulate others, we disregard their autonomy, treating them as a means to an end rather than as individuals with their own values, goals, and preferences. To respect someone's autonomy means to accept that their feelings and choices may not always align with our own. It is about letting go of the need to control outcomes and embracing the reality that others have their own wills and desires. This doesn't mean that we don't care about the relationship or its future. Rather, it reflects a deeper form of care, one that recognizes and supports the freedom of the other person. Are you able to respect someone's choices even when they do not benefit you, or do you find yourself trying to convince others to see things your way? Respecting autonomy also means setting healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not about keeping people out, but about maintaining the integrity of the relationship by ensuring that both parties have space to be themselves. When we respect each other's autonomy, we create a foundation of trust and understanding, where both individuals feel valued not for what they can provide, but for who they are. This leads to more fulfilling and sustainable relationships, where neither person feels pressured to conform or compromise their true selves. Reflect on your past interactions. Were there moments when you felt the urge to change someone's mind or to make them behave in a certain way? How did this affect the relationship? Did it bring you closer together, or did it create distance? Consider how different the outcome might have been if you had focused on understanding and accepting the other person's perspective. When we respect the autonomy of others, we empower them to be their best selves, which ultimately enhances the quality of the relationship. 6. Pursue virtuous love. In modern society, love is often portrayed as a passionate pursuit or an emotional whirlwind, yet these portrayals rarely capture the true depth and meaning that love can embody. Stoicism offers a different understanding, one that emphasizes virtuous love, love that is founded on wisdom, justice, courage, and self-discipline. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If our thoughts are grounded in virtue, our approach to love will also be shaped by these higher principles, leading to relationships that are not only fulfilling, but also enduring. What does it mean to pursue virtuous love? It means striving for a connection that is more than just a source of pleasure or emotional fulfillment. It is about forming a bond that helps both individuals grow in character and live according to their highest values. Have you ever considered whether your pursuit of love is driven by a desire for fleeting pleasure or by a commitment to something deeper? Are your relationships helping you become a better person, or are they distractions that pull you away from your true path? Stoicism teaches us that love should not be possessive or controlling. It should not be a source of dependency where one's happiness hinges entirely on the actions or affections of another. Instead, virtuous love is selfless and committed to the well-being of the partner. This type of love is not based on external factors like status, appearance, or wealth, but rather on the shared pursuit of a life lived in accordance with virtue. Are you willing to cultivate a love that seeks the good of the other person without expecting anything in return? The pursuit of virtuous love requires us to align our relationships with the 4 cardinal virtues. Wisdom guides us to see relationships clearly, free from unrealistic expectations. Justice ensures that we treat our partners with fairness and respect, always mindful of their needs and boundaries. Courage allows us to be honest and vulnerable, even when it is difficult, while self-discipline helps us to control desires that might otherwise lead to unhealthy attachments or impulsive behaviors. When these virtues are present, love becomes more than an emotion. It becomes a choice and a practice. Have you ever experienced love that felt like a partnership in growth, where both of you were striving to be the best versions of yourselves? Or conversely, have you found yourself in relationships where the focus was more on what each person could get rather than what you could give? The Stoic approach encourages us to view relationships as opportunities to practice virtue. When we love in this way, we inspire others to do the same, creating a relationship dynamic that is built on mutual respect and a shared commitment to excellence. To pursue virtuous love is to reject the idea that love is something that happens to us by chance. Instead, it is a conscious choice to engage in a relationship that uplifts both partners. This type of love does not shy away from challenges or conflicts. Rather, it embraces them as opportunities to deepen the connection and practice the virtues. Think about the quality of the relationships in your life. Do they bring out your best qualities? If not, how can you apply the principles of Stoicism to cultivate more meaningful and virtuous bonds? Next, we will discuss the importance of letting go of external validation and finding strength in self-sufficiency. 7. Let go of external validation. The desire for external validation is deeply ingrained in human nature. We often seek approval from others, whether it's through recognition, admiration, or love. Yet Stoicism teaches us that true fulfillment comes from within, and that relying on external validation is a precarious path. Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "It is not the things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about these things." In the context of relationships, this means understanding that our self-worth should not be dependent on the acceptance or rejection of others. Why do we place so much importance on how others perceive us? Is it because we confuse approval with self-worth, or because we believe that being liked equates to being valuable? According to Stoicism, when we allow our sense of self to be shaped by the opinions of others, we give away our power. We become like a ship at sea, tossed by every wave of praise or criticism. But what if you could anchor your sense of worth within yourself, independent of others' judgments? Letting go of external validation does not mean disregarding feedback or isolating oneself. It means recognizing that while the opinions of others may be helpful for reflection, they do not determine your intrinsic value. This requires a shift in mindset from seeking approval to practicing self-acceptance. Have you ever noticed how liberating it feels to act according to your own principles, without worrying about what others will think? This is the freedom that Stoicism offers, the ability to live authentically and unapologetically, rooted in your own values. The practice of letting go of external validation is deeply connected to the Stoic concept of self-sufficiency. The more we cultivate inner strength and self-reliance, the less we need others to validate us. This doesn't mean that we become indifferent or detached from others. Rather, it means that our happiness is not dependent on external circumstances. When we achieve this state of self-sufficiency, we can approach relationships from a place of wholeness, rather than from a need for affirmation. Are you seeking relationships to complete yourself, or are you seeking them to complement the life you already have? Consider how different your life would be if you stopped seeking approval and focused instead on living in accordance with your own principles. How many times have you compromised your beliefs or values just to be accepted by others? Stoicism encourages us to look inward and evaluate our motives. Are you acting out of a genuine desire for connection, or are you trying to fill a void that only inner work can address? Next, let us explore the importance of cultivating patience and how it can transform the way we approach relationships. 8. Cultivate patience. Patience is a virtue that is often overlooked in the fast-paced world we live in, yet it is crucial for navigating the complexities of relationships. In Stoicism, patience is seen as the ability to endure discomfort, delay, or setbacks without frustration. Marcus Aurelius spoke to this when he said, "The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." This advice highlights the value of being patient, especially when it comes to forming meaningful connections. Why is it that we often rush into relationships or become frustrated when things don't move as quickly as we'd like? Is it because we are impatient by nature, or have we been conditioned to expect instant gratification? Patience teaches us that some things are worth waiting for, and that the best relationships often take time to develop. By practicing patience, we allow time to reveal the true nature of our connections, rather than forcing relationships to fit into a preconceived timeline. Stoicism encourages us to embrace the present moment, to focus on what is within our control, and to trust the process of life. When we cultivate patience, we avoid making impulsive decisions that can lead to unnecessary complications or heartache. Are you willing to let things unfold naturally, or do you feel the need to constantly push for progress? Patience allows us to act with wisdom, as it gives us the time to assess situations with a clear mind. In relationships, patience can be the difference between deepening a bond and straining it. It allows space for understanding, growth, and compromise. Ask yourself, how many times have you acted hastily in a relationship, only to later realize that a more patient approach would have led to a better outcome? Patience is not just about waiting, it is about waiting with a purpose and a calm mind. It is about trusting that the right opportunities and people will come into your life at the right time. Remember that impatience often stems from a place of insecurity or fear that things won't go the way you want, or that you'll miss out on something. By practicing patience, you can cultivate a sense of inner peace, knowing that what is meant for you will come in due time. This mindset helps to reduce anxiety and allows you to be more present in your interactions with others. When we approach relationships with patience, we create an environment where trust and understanding can flourish naturally. Next, let's turn our attention to the concept of building meaningful connections and how to foster relationships that go beyond superficial attractions. 9. Build meaningful connections. The pursuit of meaningful connections is at the heart of Stoic relationships. Stoicism teaches us to value depth over superficiality and to seek relationships that contribute to our growth and well-being. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This idea can be applied to relationships as well. Don't focus on finding the perfect partner. Instead, focus on being a person who attracts meaningful and authentic connections. What makes a connection meaningful? Is it simply shared interests or physical attraction? Or is it a deeper bond based on mutual respect, shared values, and a commitment to growth? Stoicism teaches us that true relationships are those that bring out the best in us and help us to live virtuously. Have you ever been in a relationship where you felt inspired to become a better person, not because you were trying to impress someone, but because you were motivated by a genuine desire for self-improvement? To build meaningful connections, we must approach each interaction with authenticity and openness. This means being present in the moment, showing genuine interest in others, and allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. It is about connecting on a level that goes beyond mere appearances or casual conversation. Are you engaging with others in a way that fosters a true exchange of ideas and emotions? Or are you merely scratching the surface? The Stoic approach to relationships also involves letting go of expectations. Instead of trying to shape someone into what you want them to be, embrace who they are and appreciate the unique qualities they bring into your life. This acceptance helps create an environment where both people can be themselves, leading to a more genuine and lasting bond. Ask yourself, are your relationships based on who the other person truly is, or on who you want them to be? How would your connections change if you accepted people as they are without trying to change them? Meaningful connections are not built overnight. They require time, effort, and mutual commitment. But the rewards are immense. When you share a meaningful bond with someone, you find a source of strength and comfort that is far more enduring than fleeting attractions. By prioritizing meaningful connections, you focus on quality over quantity and build a network of relationships that enrich your life. Next, let us discuss the significance of practicing self-reflection and how it can guide us toward better relationships. 10. Embrace self-reflection. Self-reflection is a cornerstone of Stoic practice and is essential for navigating relationships with wisdom. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the importance of examining one's thoughts and actions. He advised, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if thou wilt ever dig." Self-reflection allows us to understand our motivations, recognize patterns in our behavior, and learn from our experiences. Without it, we may repeat the same mistakes or fail to see the lessons that life offers us. How often do you take time to reflect on your relationships and your role in them? Do you analyze your actions and their impact on others, or do you move from one situation to another without much thought? The practice of self-reflection is not about dwelling on past mistakes or blaming ourselves for what has happened. Rather, it is about gaining insight into how we can improve. Ask yourself, what did I learn from my last relationship? How can I apply those lessons to my future interactions? Stoicism encourages us to take ownership of our actions and to be honest with ourselves about our strengths and weaknesses. This process of introspection helps us to identify areas where we can grow and areas where we may need to exercise more patience or understanding. It also empowers us to take deliberate steps towards self-improvement. Self-reflection gives us clarity and helps us approach relationships with greater awareness and intentionality. In the realm of relationships, self-reflection allows us to understand not only our needs, but also the needs of others. It encourages empathy and helps us to navigate conflicts with a balanced perspective. Have you noticed how your understanding of a situation changes when you take the time to see it from another person's point of view? When we practice self-reflection, we become better partners, friends, and companions because we are more in tune with our own emotions and the emotions of those around us. Make it a habit to regularly evaluate your relationships and your behavior within them. What patterns do you see emerging? Are you acting in ways that are consistent with your values? Or are there areas where you need to adjust your approach? Self-reflection is not a one-time exercise. It is a continuous process of learning and growth. By embracing this practice, You ensure that you are always moving forward on the path of self-improvement. In conclusion, the wisdom of Stoicism provides a profound framework for approaching relationships with grace, patience, and authenticity. The 10 principles we've explored guide us to find contentment within ourselves, handle rejection with resilience, focus on self-improvement, maintain emotional control, respect others' autonomy, pursue virtuous love, let go of external validation, cultivate patience, build meaningful connections, and engage in self-reflection. These teachings are not just abstract ideas, but practical steps that can transform your life and relationships. By applying these principles, you can avoid the futile chase of external desires and instead build connections that are fulfilling, virtuous, and enduring. I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments below. How have these Stoic principles influenced your approach to relationships? What challenges have you faced in applying them? Remember to like this video if you found it valuable, subscribe to stay updated on future content, and share it with others who may benefit from the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Thank you for watching, and I wish you all the best on your journey towards more meaningful and Stoic relationships.